Open data is fundamental. I think there's some issues around how open data is being treated in other countries, because often a lot of open data programs are being funded through big development agencies. So what that then means is that there's an open data program that gets launched under a particular funding stream, but when that funding stream ends, so does any funding for that particular portal or any kind of institutional program around that. And so this is where some of the need needs to come in around better coordinated approaches at the country level. So there's also investment that's coming in from the countries to support these projects. In the relation to the SDGs, part of what we're continuously trying to do in many of the countries that we're working in is to be able to bring the SDGs and open data together, not treat them as separate things. And the SDGs themselves becomes a very nice organizing framework for how you can look at some of the key data issues in each country. Through open data programs, for example, that usually provides some kind of an infrastructure to make data more accessible, right? Depending on how that data is made accessible, we'll also have a direct relationship with how well you're able to innovate around that data, depending on the type of API and other types of features that that portal has. When it comes to data sharing, largely it's an institutional issue. You have to be able to get institutions working together to understand the value of sharing data and what that means for reducing redundancies, becoming more efficient, having a more collaborative culture, and putting together a sustained, institutionalized mechanism and infrastructure that thinks about interoperability and how systems are talking to one another to really be able to gain the value from that data sharing. You can work in silos. Obviously, it's not going to be that efficient. Then you might move into some kind of a data sharing program where at the government level, you've set up some kind of a structure that allows at least government institutions to share data across agencies, which has many benefits behind that. And then through that process, as you become more mature and sort of understanding the value around what data sharing can provide, then there's open data and what that means for like creating networked types of approaches around that. I think there's a transformation that's taking place with geospatial, especially satellite data. You have organizations like Planet Labs that are making more and more data on a daily basis with a higher frequency at a good resolution available now. There's a number of initiatives that are underway to make satellite data more accessible at a lower cost with like less transaction costs around that as well. So I think that that's changing. I think organizations like the Group on Earth Observations and the work that they're doing in Africa and globally overall, but the way that they're setting up this network with geo-principles within each of the countries to really bring in some of the key methods at the country level for how geospatial data can be applied. I think it's a changing landscape, and I only see that moving in a trajectory where I think more and more countries are going to have the capacity that they need to be able to use geospatial data for their specific needs.